Thank you, guys. Want to make sure that Simple Property Management is getting their due credit, because without them, I wouldn't be here. So thank you so much for that. All right. So we were finishing up our growth strategies. If you didn't get a chance to scan this QR code, this has all the ins and outs of smart numbers. So if you want to learn a little bit more about what the smart number does, the ins, the outs, the ups, the downs, go ahead and scan that for the article, the support article on smart numbers. There is a lot of pros and cons. I was sharing with some folks at the break of why you might want to have your own. Remember that the smart number is used for pushing out those communications, those text messages. It's used for call capture. It's used for lead generation. We already know that. And if you are ever fearful that, you want your own, you don't want to miss out on leads. Because in this scenario with this McMansion, as I mentioned before, if somebody texts that word to that number, the agent that created the code will get that phone lead. But there's no guarantee that that person isn't going to pick up the phone and call that number. And if they call that number, what's going to happen? It's going to come in as a phone lead, and it's going to get routed through the default lead routing for a new phone call lead. And so it may not end up in your database because you may not have been up next for the next lead. So if you're like, man, I love those text codes. I want to use those everywhere. I'm going to use those everywhere. Or maybe you want to get your own billboard or take out a hot air balloon ad or a newspaper ad or something like that. You might want to consider getting your own smart number, but you don't have to, because try using the text codes as they are. I think that they have so much value. I love the text codes. I use them all the time. This is also one of my favorite webinars that Ryan Hartman, who is, I call him the lead guru. He was with Inside Real Estate for a long, long time. And this is one of his simple single property squeeze page Facebook ad tutorials. And he'll walk you through how to do a Facebook ad using a squeeze page and some niche marketing. So all of those things we talked about. Ryan Hartman, anytime you can catch a Ryan Hartman webinar, this is a great place to learn a little bit more about that. Or, there you go. And there it is, proof in the pudding. Or you could join us on our success meetups for tips, tricks, and Q&A. This is where we run these sessions Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. You can register through the calendar on the dashboard. Here's what the registration looks like. A little pro tip if you ever want to make your own QR code, and if you want to sign up and register for our next session, right up here where the little arrow is, you can create any website page into a QR code. So go ahead and scan that QR code if you want to sign up and register for a success meetup. Because we'd love to have you come next week. We just did our final one for this week today, but we'll be back in full force Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. Sign up for one, sign up for all. Come say hi to me. Wednesdays are a little bit more advanced, just so you know. All right, now that's enough of that. Anybody have anything from any of the sessions that we've done up until now? Any questions coming up? Things starting to make a little bit more sense? Yeah? Okay, here's your next steps. These are the things I want you to do. Make a landing page, make a squeeze page, create a blog with a squeeze page or landing page in it. Go check out the marketplace tools. One of my favorite tools in the marketplace, which is, like I said earlier, I think of this as our dessert menu. This being the main dinner menu, but everything in the marketplace is your dessert menu. It's an add-on. Costs a little more, not in calories, but there's usually a price tag in here. But you can purchase leads through kvCORE. You can purchase seller leads, smart social leads. We have a program called Nosy Neighbor where we send out targeted postcards to the 10 closest neighbor for every listing within a certain geographic zip code, exclusive zip codes. This is where you can purchase core video, voicemail drop. All of these are great add-ons for your lead generation strategies. So I encourage you to come and check this out. We even have a webinar that we hold. We hold it, I think it's every week. I think it's every Wednesday we do a marketplace overview webinar that will walk you through everything that's in there. So if you have questions about it or just want to explore what those are, go check those out. Okay, let's close that out. And are you guys ready to talk about smart campaigns and other marketing tools? Yes. All right. So the marketing tools that are in kvCORE are designed to help kind of put things on autopilot, and anything that you can automate should be automated. Why? It's going to save you time, energy, and effort, and maybe even a little bit of money. All right. So the smart campaigns are a really strong series of emails, text messages, task reminders, phone call reminders. There's all webhooks can be built into them, adding and removing hashtags, updating statuses. All of those actions are built into smart campaigns, which is why they're called smart campaigns, because they're not just drip systems of emails and text messages that go out. So what we're going to talk about today is how to use those marketing tools to save time with those automations, put things on autopilot as much as you can, understand what those smart campaigns are, how to find them, what are the default smart campaigns, what triggers a smart campaign, how to set one up, how to copy, clone, and edit a smart campaign, and how to manage them. All right, so if you want the complete guide to smart campaigns, grab this article right here. This is the comprehensive guide to smart campaigns in kvCORE. Read this at your leisure. We're not going to go through it now. So, smart campaigns are really pre-created action plans. They're going to save you that time and energy. They're going to create reminders that are going to call you, tasks, actions, all of those great things. And they're based on triggers that start them. So we call those triggers start logic. So when something is triggered, it's creating the start logic of that plan. And what that smart campaign is going to, how it's going to be triggered, all right? Now, one thing to remember above everything is that you already have campaigns that are built into your system. I believe you get 9 of them right out of the box, already ready to go. Some of them are turned on for you. You can leave them alone as is. Let them run, let them do their thing. I highly recommend letting them, especially like those new leads and the prospects and the active the active campaign, I have mixed emotions about that one. But the new lead and the prospect campaigns, I would just let them run. Okay, because these people are the people that really haven't met you yet. So they're not used to it. It's not like sending it to your sphere of influence. I understand why you may not want to have a smart campaign set up for your sphere of influence quite yet, until you've had a chance to proofread it and make sure it's something that you feel comfortable sending out to your group. I get that. But I really don't recommend turning them off. You can, but they're built to be used as is, okay? So, remember this morning, way back to this morning when we talked about all that foundational stuff in kvCORE? Those are the things that trigger smart campaigns. Smart campaigns are triggered by statuses, deal types, hashtags, or even advanced triggers or qualifiers. Most of the time it's going to be based on a status and the deal type. So for example, you can have a smart campaign that's specifically designed for new leads that are buyer leads. We actually have that as one of your default campaigns. Same thing with new leads that are seller type leads. New leads that are renter type leads. You could create your own campaign for new leads that are for buyers, sellers, and renters. Maybe you want to create your own. You could set it up so that it triggers based on that start logic. I will tell you, we do not have campaigns that are built for your leads that are in contract or archived. Okay, in contract or archived. Those are going to be ones you're going to have to build yourself if you want one. This is what you're going to be, what I want you to do next, but what I really want to show you is how to access some of these tools. So, marketing. This is where a lot of those automations live at a higher level, including those smart campaigns. Now, I walked you through the behavioral automations earlier today, but I do, while we're here, before I move into the smart campaigns, I want to point out a couple of things here because I've mentioned them, but we didn't dive too deep into them. One are those search alerts. Remember those search alerts we want to automate? So if you run a squeeze page for all those pool homes under $10 bazillion and you want to keep sending them search alerts under $10 bazillion with pools, you can set up a search alert that's triggered based on a hashtag. So we're going to use that hashtag McMansion, and guess what? I can come in here and I can set up, this should look familiar to you because this is the same way we ran that search in the squeeze page. And it's very similar to how you set them up in an individual contact record. You would simply choose the location, draw the polygon search, or use the geographical areas, You can also add in keywords here. This is great for locations or areas that are specific to maybe your market. Maybe you want to just choose like waterfront homes. Well, I know there's a field in my MLS that has waterfront. So if I pop in the keyword waterfront, what's going to happen is it's going to give me a series of fields to choose from, waterfront yes or no, or waterfront features. And then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to look to see, oh, there's lots of different types of waterfront. There's beachfront, there's riverfront, there's lakefront. I can be selective because these are fields that are coming from my MLS. So these would be the fields that are very local to your MLS. So that's how you use those keywords.
Choose more than one.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Or you could use those general options, you know, those, I think this is where we pulled pool home before, pool home, right? I can choose my listing type. Single family, condos, multiples, coming soons. I can pick and choose how I want to do this. I'm just going to pull single family homes in here. There it is. Beds and bath, minimum acreage, square footage, year built. Now here again, I think this is a really valuable underutilized tool is the frequency. Because when a search alert happens automatically when a consumer comes to your website, I believe the default is as they appear on your market. And so they could potentially get a bunch of emails from you, right? But if you're being very specific and you're creating your own search alert, maybe you just want to combine them and just send them once a week. Because you're easing into this conversion. If your market is really super hot like it was 6 months ago, you're probably going to want to send them ASAP. But maybe now you want to send them daily. So you can choose the frequency of which they go out here. Now you can choose an email, a CC email here. I don't even know why they put it on this page, but you can. Piece of advice, don't put your own email address in there. You do not need to get those search alerts sent to yourself. You just don't. It's going to clog up your email. You can always see what properties are being searched in a contact record in their timeline. Anytime they look at those properties or those property searches go out, it'll show up in that contact's timeline. So you can always go there if you need to. If there's any properties within that search alert that have upcoming open houses, they'll get a separate open house alert. You might want to trigger that. So you could turn that on as well. And then you would set up this search alert. And by doing so, when you set up that search alert, and I guess I didn't fill it out completely, now you have a hashtag that is going to be used as a trigger. This is a tool that you can use if you forgot to set up search alerts for all those leads that you imported into your database. Because guess what? You can actually set up, remember I told you there's 70 data points that you can bring into a database import sheet. And some of those data points include search alerts. If you know the area, the location, the price point, the beds, the baths, you can plug it into your spreadsheet on your database and we'll set up a search alert for you automatically that will start going out. But if you're like, Kelly, I didn't know about that. I would have set up search alerts before. Now, the only way to do it is either to manually go into each contact record and set one up individually, or create a hashtag with a general search and then go and mass apply to those leads that hashtag. And to do that, you would go into the Smart CRM and you would filter out in the Smart filters. Maybe it was, I don't know, everybody in your new leads and your prospects. And you're like, I better set them up on a search alert. I'm going to set them up on a general one. You can apply the filters and select all. And then over here in more actions, you can mass apply a hashtag. And we could add that hashtag McMansions. And then after 48 hours, those search alerts will start.
Did you click right before that to get to the hashtag?
I filtered out this using the filters. And then I clicked select all. That's this little button right above there. And then I went to more actions. More actions is where you can do things in bulk. So this is where maybe you mislabeled them. They all came in as new leads and they're supposed to be in your sphere. You can mass update them by changing their status, transferring, sharing. You can put them in archived. You can assign them to a lender. You can add a smart campaign. You can add your smart campaigns in mass. You can always do all these things one at a time, but this is where you would go to do a mass action. Okay? Print the address labels. You can do that. 5160s. Question?
So when I wanted to select like half of those, and then I clicked the next page, it unselected all the ones.
Correct. You can only do one page at a time. That's exactly what happened. So what she did, and thank you for calling that out. That's a good pro tip. When you're creating a mass action, let me go and clear this. Up here in the upper right corner, right here, I'm in my what we call the super admin, so my default is only 10 rows at a time. Oh my gosh, this would be labor intensive if I had more than 20 leads. But you should be able to click on this and go up to 250. So you can pull up 250 leads at a time and do a mass action. So if you're applying that search alert and you have 2,500 leads, if I do the math, you have to do it 10 times. Does that make sense? So you go from page to page to do it.
Is there any reason why they did it so limited, only 250 rather than like 1,000?
Well, I'll tell you why. A lot of it has to do with when you're sending out things like mass emails. Because of spam. Yeah, because of spam. It lowers the risk of it ending up in spam.
I had to say a little this winter and just took me mouse clicks to get through my whole list. It seems kind of crazy.
It is. Well, but that's what the scheduled mass email is for. If you're doing a scheduled mass email, just so you know, that's a tool in the marketing section. You can do them all at once. Like maybe you have an open house announcement or something. You can go over here to, or you could set up a smart campaign and assign them to a smart campaign, but you can go into scheduled mass emails. And this is another thing that's really helpful if you want to send things out in bulk, especially to your whole database. Maybe for that slip and slide event or something, you want to send an email announcement. You have the option to send a email to contacts that match criteria from a save filter. You have from a hashtag, so maybe you just want to send it to maybe my newsletter group. And you can also choose by status. So if you want to send it to everybody in your database, you would choose by status, and you just add in all the statuses. And when you do that, it's going to send it to everybody in your database. And when you send a mass email out, you choose the date and time to send it out. Keep in mind that at that time, we send them out in batches. Okay, so like batches of, I don't know what it is, 100 or 250 or whatever. We send them out in batches, primarily for that reason, to avoid having it end up in spam. Okay. Good segue, though, into our smart campaigns and using those marketing tools, though. Anybody have any questions about the smart CRM, since we didn't go too deep into it, using the filters, things like that? We talked a little bit about the ponds. I love these filters because when you're doing things and you're automating things, sometimes you want to be selective. If I'm sending a message out to, oh gosh, I don't know, I want to send a text message out to, I don't know, everybody in my sphere, right? I want to pull up a targeted list. So I'm going to pull up people in my sphere, and I can go down here to the contact details, and I can say, show me everybody in my sphere. You know what? Just show me everybody who's a seller type person in my sphere. And for that matter, go ahead and show me everybody in here who is has a phone number, right? I want to say, show me who has a phone number and that are subscribed to text messages. I'm narrowing down my list to get to my target audience. Now, if this is a list I'm going to use over and over again, maybe I'm going to text all these people once a month. I don't want to recreate this filter all the time. So I'm going to go to Save Filters, and I'm going to give it a name, and I'm going to call this My Seller Phone List. This would be a good list to use the dialer with. If you're using the app, you could use the dialer. And because it's going to be one that I want to find, I'm going to go ahead and pin it to the top of my CRM, and I'm going to save it. You don't have to pin it. If you don't pin it, what will happen is you'll just go find it right here in the drop-down list. It'll always be there. I think it's going to show up right there. There it is. There's my phone seller list. But now I have a quick list up here at the top too. So it will, it'll display up here at the top. And I think I have, I don't even know how many people over here. I've got too many filters over there. So I'm going to pull it up from here. But that allows that save filter to be available now in your scheduled mass emails. And it's also a custom list on your app on your phone. So this is a great way to create targeted phone lists. So when you're calling people, create it as a save filter here, and then pull it up on the app on your phone and hit the dialer and start dialing that number, dialing the people on that list.
It has to be done on your phone to do the text.
No, what do you mean?
The dialing thing?
You can actually call through your desktop. If you call through your desktop, you're going to be using your smart number. Okay, so when I go to my dashboard every day and I call up, the system's going to curate a list of people for me to call because it's part of the smart campaigns. I can go to my call list and I can look to see, who's kvCORE telling me I need to call today? I don't have anybody today, but I have some that are past due. And I can go in here and I can say, Lynn, I got to call Lynn. And if I click call, what's going to happen is I'm going to choose the number to call Lynn. If she has multiple numbers, I'm going to pick the number that's here that I want to call. She's only got one. And I'm going to click call now. And what will happen is if I did that, my phone will ring. And it's kvCORE calling me saying, press 1 to connect with your live lead or your lead live. And I press 1 and it's like a party line, a 3-way call. And the system is then going to go and call Lynn. She'll answer, we'll chat, and then I'm going to log the call right here. It's always important to log your calls because you're telling the system, hey, I tried to call this person today. And they were either, I connected with them, I contacted them, they weren't home, or it was a bad number. If it's a bad number, it's going to remove the phone number from your call list and any future call list so you don't waste your time. If they're not home, it's going to set it up a couple of days from now so that you are set to call them. And if you connected with them, it logs the call and then pushes them farther out on your next call list. Because every day, the system actually spins through your CRM and looks for leads that are starting to warm up intent. That's your daily call list. That's on top of the smart campaigns that go out. It's pretty cool. If you go up to your name, where your profile is, right here, you'll see what is set up for your daily call list criteria. I'll go in and I will edit my profile, and then I go to settings. And so right now, the system every day is going to go through my CRM. It's going to look through all my prospects, my new leads, and my active leads. And the AI that's built into the system is going to look for certain behaviors. And if that lead has exhibited or not exhibited them, they may end up on your daily call list because either they're slipping through the cracks or they're starting to warm up in intent. Now, a couple things you'd note, right? You're like, what?
What's going on here? Why did I call these stupid people?
That's right, because the system is starting to notice things. Some of the algorithms that are built into the system are things like, call this lead because they're in the new lead category and they've never been called. Call this lead because they're a prospect and they may have been on your website in the last 30 days. So there's a whole series of algorithms that are built into the AI that look for this criteria. Now, pro tip, I would personally recommend that you go in here and add your sphere. This is a great way to make sure that people in your sphere, those people that give you referrals, don't slip through the cracks without having to put them on a smart campaign to remind you. Because if you haven't called Great Aunt Martha ever, she may end up on one of your daily call lists as a reminder. You should call Great Aunt Martha. Now, you do have to let the system know if you want those calls every day and if you're going to make calls on the weekends, because we assume you're out showing houses on the weekends and we don't set them up that way. So you have to turn it on. On is blue, gray is off. If you want to challenge yourself and if you want to focus on building your business, you're going to change this number. The default is 10. Okay? It doesn't mean that every day you're going to get 10 phone calls on your call list. It means you'll get no more than 10. But we all know that the more phone calls you make, the more people you talk to, the more business you get. So change this number to like 25. Our power users have this set between anywhere from 50 to 100. That's how many phone calls they make a day. Question?
If we do a bulk upload on our contacts, is that going to automatically filter them in if we select that sphere? I mean, is that just going to filter them in on a regular basis?
It's based on the algorithms and their behavior. So if they don't, so like if you've never called them, you might get 5 people from your sphere that show up on that list. It just pulls them in based on either their activity or lack of activity, based on this. There is a support article. I'll see if I can find it and send it to you. It tells you what the algorithms are. I know that too. It's very interesting though, because this is literally your virtual assistant telling you, don't let these people slip through the cracks. You have all these people in your sphere and you don't reach out to them. You need to call them. Now,
If you don't record that you called them, do they come back around or will they stay there?
well, so that's why you need to record them, because if you note contacted not home or bad number, you're telling the system so that it will queue up the next action. If you don't, the system doesn't know. And so it won't. And if your admin has chosen to put in what we call agent accountability rules, you potentially could fall out of lead rotation from getting future leads for a month or till the first of the month because you're not doing the things that need to be done for that lead. So it's always important to just document that conversation.
If we do mass text, will it tell us if it's a bad number or take it off automatically?
It'll tell you before you go in and try and text them. It'll tell you like 3 out of the 5 people you've selected have unsubscribed or whatever it is. And it just bypasses. You can just, oh, great, fine. I'll text everybody else then. Yeah. So those are some of the marketing tools. Other things that you can put on autopilot as well are things like simple things, birthdays, home anniversaries. If you have their birthdays and their anniversaries in their profile, you can control it again by those statuses. And we have a template, it's already built, and it's gonna go out on that contact's birthday. Now, if you wanna change it, maybe you don't like the one that we have. I kinda think it's nice. It'll go out every year on their birthday. Maybe you wanna change it so you actually wanna send it to go out before their birthday. I personally think that's a great strategy, and I changed mine with a picture that said, I wanna be the very first person to wish you a happy birthday. And I have mine set to run before their birthday. Because how many times, on your birthday, my birthday was January 6th, I had 97 people. Yay, there you go. Is it the 6th? Oh, happy birthday, fellow Capricorn. How many people wished you a happy birthday on your Facebook? Oh my gosh, I had over 115 people, and I'm still going through liking, commenting, and just trying to be nice. None of them are gonna stick out except for the person who sent me a card before my birthday.
Plus, it shows that you were reminded by Facebook it was their birthday. You knew it was their birthday.
Exactly.
You just year, or you just put 99 in the year of the birthday, the actual birthday.
Just the birthday. You don't have to put the year. Oh, does it? Oh, I didn't know that. I think you can put any date. It doesn't wish him like happy 47th birthday.
I always see how we didn't even bother putting in the year.
Nah, you could probably make one up if you want. Yeah, I don't think because it pulls up the template that you put in here.
Yeah, it's just, don't put in like 1901 or something.
Well, you know what? When you start getting older than dirt like me, I always tell people I'm celebrating the 14th anniversary of my 29th birthday, so it starts getting creative.
Are you able to do, in one of the previous sessions, you talked about the videos, and you could do some videos. Do you set it up with the video?
Yes.
Automatic?
If you have core video. That's a template. Yeah. Yep. So that's called core video, and that would be something that you would need the add-on subscription for, but yeah. And you can do the same thing with their anniversaries. Now, it's not wedding anniversary, it's the purchase of their home anniversary. So make sure that you know that. I had an agent one time said, how come they're sending pictures of houses? It's supposed to be their wedding. I'm like, no, that's not what it is. It is, that's what this one is, the home anniversary. So if you have it set up here, we'll send them a congratulations on your home purchase. Yeah, we'll send it out for them.
I buy cards, that's a lot of money.
That's right. Absolutely. And you can get that information from your title rep. Your title rep should pull you that information. Mine gave me a whole list in a CSV file, and I uploaded it right to my CRM. And that's how I worked my local geographic farm when I first started.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. That's how I did it.
I just got my calendar,
Oh, there you go.
you know.
See? Save your time, save your energy. But there's also a lot to be said for a personal note as well, if that's what you do. Nothing beats a personal letter. We were just talking earlier about postcards. I love postcards. Anyway, so those are some things that you can set up automatically. Don't forget about the things you can set up in the contact record that's going to help nurture them. Earlier, we talked about the search alerts. Remember, you can set up property alerts. This is where you can control those active campaigns. So now you can set up a campaign a couple different ways. You can have it set up to trigger automatically when they come into your website. You can have it triggered to set up through a hashtag. You can also have it triggered manually if you want to just go and add a campaign right here. You would just choose whatever running campaigns you have active, and you could start it from here. Once you've added a campaign, you can then go back and you can pause the campaign, you can restart it, you can remove it as well. Okay. Market reports, great way to stay in touch with people because you can control the frequency and it sends local market information. I like to send people in my geographic farm zip code updates. So I'll plug in the zip code, 92563. That's my hometown. And I may set the geographical area. I don't usually set it to go out every 7 days, unless I think that they're starting to show intent to sell. But nothing beats sending it out every 28 days, about once a month. I'm staying on top of it. I don't have to worry about it. It's going out. Set it and forget it. Listing valuations. Those are those computer-generated automations that go out that say your home is valued at, and we'll set up a listing valuation that'll go out. It goes out about once a month. And if you have a seller, you can plug in your MLS ID number of the property you're selling for them, and it'll send them that weekly seller traffic report. And it tells them what marketing that's been going, how many views people have seen of their property from your website, from all of the users in kvCORE. So that'll show up in the seller report.
Is it best practice to set up your own property alerts for each individual contact, or is it just, I know the system will alert them to similar properties automatically?
Best practice would be for any time you can set something up personally for them is probably going to be the more specific and strategic and better resulting search alert. But if you can't, you still should automate it. So like I'll set up a search alert. If I don't know what they're looking for, maybe they never even came to my website. All those people in my sphere, in my neighborhood, I told you I set up a search alert for a certain price range that I know that will capture like the prices of the models of homes where I live, and it'll exclude the houses that are like, under the price point that I want to work in. I'll set up a search alert like that, and I'll just do a generic one. I'll set it up for people that I have no idea even where they are. I just set up a generic one for McMansions, and I send them properties that are over $1 million. I'm like, who doesn't love to look at $1 million properties? And it's just my point of contact with them.
But I'm saying, like, from the leads that come in.
Yeah, if you can get to them first, set it up. Yeah. Yep.
You were just doing a Heather, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
Market report, put it in 15 days.
Mm-hmm.
You do a market report, you have it sent to your prospect.
In mass? You mean set it up in mass? I don't think you can do a property. Yeah, no, you can't do a market report in mass. Let me think how you could do that. You could do. You could do a market report squeeze page. Remember? You could do a market report squeeze page. Squeeze page. You could do a market report squeeze page, build it out here, take the link, and then go to your scheduled mass email, send it to everybody in your database or all your prospects, however you want to send it to. You could send it there, and you could say, hey, I wanted you to have this free market report. And if they respond back and they set it up, then you would know who wants it, and you could go set those up. You could technically build a smart campaign that just sends out the link to the market report squeeze page, have it go out the frequency every 7 days. That's what a smart campaign could do for you, because you could create any kind of outbound communication that might send things regularly. Like I'll set up text-based campaigns because I know I don't have an email address for them, and I want to try and get their email address. So I create a squeeze page link, because remember the squeeze page, they can only go so far before they have to sign up and register. And I'll put properties that I know that they're interested in, and I'll text it to them, and eventually I'm going to get their email address, because that's the only way they're going to be able to get into those properties. So that is a good segue into smart campaigns. So here's where your smart campaigns live in the marketing section. Remember, there are some defaults. That is, these 3 tiles up here are how you manage your smart campaigns. You're going to see your My Campaigns. That's where the campaigns that you use live, okay? Now, campaigns can be created either by the system. Those would be the kvCORE library campaigns. They could be created by your admins. If you're part of a team, you could have a team admin that creates one for you, company admin, and they would waterfall down into the agent's sites so that the agents could use them. So you have campaigns that are scoped by the individual or entity that built them for you. So for example, this Buyer Nurture 1-year campaign, somebody in my company made that for me. And it just got added to my library for me. Hoo-ha for me, yay. It's not running, so nobody's getting it because I've turned it off, but it's there. So it's in my library. This is also a company campaign. This was created by my team admin because I'm part of a team. The only ones that you can actually make changes to are campaigns that you own, okay? So you would have to, those are user campaigns. So for example, this default new lead buyer playbook campaign. This is my campaign. I can make changes to it right here. Now, if I wanted to make my own version of a campaign that I could make changes to, I could go up to this team campaign, and as long as it's not locked, and it's that little padlock that's right there, see how it's whited out and this one is darkened? The darkened one means it's locked. That means that that admin created it and is mandating that I use it. It is mandating that I'm not changing it. That's why I can't turn it off. That's why I can't change it or make changes to it. But this one is unlocked, so my team is like, hey, I made a campaign for you. If you don't like it, you can make changes. And if you want to make changes to it, you're going to have to clone it first, because I don't own this. I can't make changes to somebody else's campaign. So if I want to make changes to it, I'm going to clone it, okay? Now, the other place where campaigns live is in this kvCORE library. Think of this as the library that you go check out or shopping in, right? You go shopping in the kvCORE library. Everything's free over here. You can take as many campaigns as you want. I think we have about 27 different campaigns. And if you want to use any one of them, you're just going to simply add it to your library. Okay, so we have lots of campaigns in here. I think we have open house campaigns, we have property boost campaigns, we've got a bunch of them. And if you're like, oh, here's an open house campaign, I really like it, I'm going to add it to my library. And it's going to clone it. What it does is it just duplicates the whole thing and moves it over into your My Campaigns. And now I'm going to search for it, open house. And there it is. Oh, I must have already done it. And now, because I pulled it from the kvCORE library, I become the user of it. I'm now that owner. Now I can make changes to it. The one thing you have to keep in mind is that you can only use campaigns that live in your My Campaign section. You can't use them if they're in the kvCORE library. You have to add them to your library first. Now, all of the actions that are built into a campaign, emails that are created, text messages that are created, status updates that happen, hashtags that are added, hashtags that are removed, those are actions. Emails that are being sent out, they're all action verbs, right? So these are things that are happening in the Smart Campaign. They're built on templates, okay? The majority of the templates that you're going to be using are going to be either email templates or text message templates. You can also create a call template, which is a reminder where the system's going to call you and remind you to do something. A task reminder is just simply that. It's a task that pops up as part of the campaign, reminding you to do something at a certain time. And then, of course, webhooks are a little bit more advanced. We're not going to go into those, but that's when you want to trigger something outside of kvCORE. Maybe on day 30 of every new buyer campaign you have, you want to trigger a postcard to go out from a mail service that you have. You would use a webhook to have that happen in kvCORE. But most of the time, you make emails and text messages. So when you build a template, and these templates, when you build them here in the Smart Campaigns, you can use them everywhere else in kvCORE, the emails and the texts. So when you want to do a mass text, and you're going to be sending it to 10 different pages of all those same people, don't write the text message 10 different times. Come into the Smart Campaigns and create a template for it. So you build a template using Add Template, or you can take one from our templates that we have. We have tons of templates in here. We've got holiday templates, we've got new listing templates, we've got all sorts of stuff. So if I just type in holiday, it's going to search for whatever holiday templates I've got in the email section. Happy Halloween, Black History Month, all sorts of things here. If I want to create one, if I want to take one of the existing ones in the template library, I can simply clone it. If I've already cloned it and used it and created changes to it, you'll see that I have this additional option to edit it. That means that it's one that I've already copied before. Okay, I'm going to give you a little helpful tip here. Say you want to create this holiday message and you want to clone this one. Now this template was built in our advanced email editor. I think it's particularly cute, but maybe I don't want this text going out here. So I'm just going to change the text that's in here. Everything else is going to remain the same. When I go and I click clone the template, you'll notice that the original name that was Happy Halloween, they've now added copy to the end of it. It's just telling you that it's the copy of the Happy Halloween template. Here's your tip. This will save you a lot of time, energy down the road. I personally take out the word copy, and I always, 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 always add my initials. And the reason I add my initials is because when you start creating multiple templates, because you're searching for them by keywords, you will forget what you called the template, but you'll never forget your initials. So you'll be able to search that way. The subject line, of course, is the subject that's in the email, so you can change that if you like. For admins, remember, you can create templates that will trickle down and waterfall into your agents' libraries as well. So make sure that you're creating them at the right scope. Agents, like us, we're just going to see ourselves, so you don't have to worry about that. But if you're creating templates at the admin level, make sure you're choosing the right scope so that everybody else has access to it. It's an admin in the kvCORE account. Yeah. So I make my changes and I clone it. Okay. So now I've got a cloned copy of that holiday one, and I can go search for it because all I really have to do is start typing my initials and start the search, and it's going to pull up all the templates that I've created. It makes it looking for it a little bit easier. Okay. Now I've got a template in here that I can use. Maybe I just want to send it out in a scheduled mass email. Maybe I want to send it in a mass email that goes out. Now I've got a template. A couple little pro tips about the templates. In the email templates, you can build them two ways. Either in a basic email template editor, which is this one, where you're simply just going to create that name, my test email, add your subject, test for class. And then I'm going to add my content here. Because you want to always be future thinking and you want to create these for future use, save yourself some time and use merge tags when you're creating these. Okay? And merge tags are found in this little starburst right here. And this will allow you to pull in those automated autofills. So I can say, dear first name, and use a merge tag. Dear lead first name. And that's where those little squiggly brackets come in. And now I can say, dear lead first name, happy Halloween, or whatever your topic is. Check out my website here, blah, 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 blah. And you can add that template. That's a very basic email. Anything that you send that's going to sound very conversational should be really sent in the basic email editor. Okay? It reduces and it strips out its plain text. There's no graphics, there's no links. It really reduces that chance of spam. But if you do want to create something that's more graphic and rich, something that's a little bit more colorful, so to speak, you can always go to the advanced email editor and you can use building blocks to create that really fun and fancy content that you want to share. And it's really very simple because they're just building blocks. I like to go in and add my rows. It's a little out of order, but I like to go in and add my rows first. So maybe I want to put something in here that's a row of a building block here and a building block here. Maybe I want to add this one. Now I've got a couple of places to start. Then I'm going to add my content, which might be, oh, you know what? I'm going to put an image right in here. And I'm going to add a button over here. I'm going to add a divider in between. Dividers are really cool because what a divider does is it actually takes your, I'm going to move this over because I don't want it right there. Maybe I'll put it down at the bottom. What a divider does is it actually mobily enhances the version of your email. When somebody looks at your email on their screen, it looks this big, but when they look at it on their mobile device, it looks this big, and it can stack kind of wonky if you don't put dividers in it. So if you put a divider in it, it makes it stack nicer. You can create all sorts of color-coded content that's in here. You can add buttons. You can change the padding. You can change the color schemes. Lots of really great things that you can do. Dynamic content. I love dynamic content because dynamic content actually allows you to pull in things like the agent header. This would be a great place to add dynamic content, to have your agent header across the top. Maybe you want to put your agent photo right over here. You could add your agent photo to show up here. And it's going to pull from pre-populated information someplace else in kvCORE. Because when you updated your profile, when you first got into kvCORE and you put your picture in there, It's also available over here now as, think of this as a giant merge tag that's going to pull in your agent photo. Okay? So you can add that dynamic content, and you can even add your social media links. Maybe you want to drag your, I don't know, your Facebook, your Pinterest, your LinkedIn. Those are buttons now that can create clickable links. You can add text boxes in here, add your text in here somewhere. If you have core video, this is where you can add in your core video, Len, right here. If you want to add a video itself, you can add video directly in into kvCORE. If you do, you're limited, however, this is outside of core video. You can add a video into your email using this video button, but you're limited to only using links from YouTube or Vimeo. So you can put video in here, but it's just got to be on Vimeo or YouTube. Okay. This is a great way to really create some really professional, on-brand, high-standard looking emails. Mine's kind of messy, but you could do that. And you can change the settings. This is where you can go and you can make things color-coded, change the background color so it meets your branding standards, make things transparent, change the padding around the area, change the width and the dynamics of the padding. Lots of different things you can use here. One thing you do want to know is that if you happen to change your mind and you want to switch back to the basic editor, it does not save your changes. It does not save your changes. So you're going to be back to square zero. So you want to make sure you save your changes and start new if you want to.
Is that advanced editor going to become available for the custom pages on our website?
Well, you have a little bit of custom, well, you want to know the workaround for that?
I almost asked that question.
Well, here's the thing.
That's what I found.
Do you guys use Canva? Do you use Canva at all?
We use Canva a lot. I mean, that's
Okay.
our entire marketing platform.
Then you should be using Canva in your custom pages. All of them, all the time. Yep. So what you can do is you can go to Canva, like I did, and
Yeah, I know what you're getting at, where you can create a graphic in there.
and then embed it into a custom page. Or you can embed the entire page. You can create an entire page in Canva and then embed that into your custom page and you're done. You want me to show you how? What I'm talking about?
Can you embed a video though?
Well, you can do GIFs and there's add-ons and stuff in here when you create things in here. So
Because that add-on right there is kind of like what you and I had talked about on that Zoom call, of being able to drop like blocks and stuff. That's why I was wondering if that advanced editor would become available for.
well, I added a video
pages.
here. Yeah, you can add a video into your page on Canva and then it'll show up like I did here for this one. This is a page that I created, Join My Team. I did that in Canva. And then when I wanted to add it into a custom page, I put my banner at the top. I've got my text, pretty much everything I wanted to line up, including my video, everything. This would be my new recruiting page. I go to share, and then I go down here to more. I grab the embed code and copy it. Then I go over to my custom page, or technically I could go over here if I really wanted to, because anywhere where there's a source code, I could save it. There it is in my email. I could do that. Or I could do the exact same thing and put it in on my custom page in the Web and IDX. Right?
Yeah, I guess our question is, that's the workaround, but it's nice to be able to maybe not use Canva, use that same editor and be able to just format your custom page and then a week later,
Yeah.
change the format a little bit.
I can see them adding that.
It's really hard to really format the custom page.
Right. I can see them adding that in something like for the custom pages and even the blogs. It would be nice to be able to do that in those two. Currently, the only workaround that I have is to use an outside source like Canva, which is pretty easy to use. And honestly, they have a lot more fun things over there.
Popular enhancement.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, because that right there is pretty much exactly what I was asking for, to have that advanced editor option within.
And it does the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I would take this and I would put it on a navigation tab on my page, make it a standalone page, and I'd push it out on a landing page.
Right.
That's exactly what I would do.
Right.
Yep. Worth of the price of admission.
Yeah.
There you go. Yep. So you can absolutely do those. How are we guys doing? I know we're running over time. You a little fried? Everybody's brains are going a little bit?
To be honest.
I think we're good, yeah.
Yeah? Okay. I got through quite a bit. What I do recommend is, let me see if I've got that. Did I put it in here? I don't think I did. Let me find, the video. For those of you that want to do date-based campaigns, Christina, who is our smart campaign guru, she recently did a success meetup on how to do a date-based campaign. Because most campaigns are, when you build a campaign, they are, oops, sorry. Yikes, that's Christina. Christina, she is pretty loud. Okay, so you can scan this QR code if you want to grab that, the date-based campaign webinar that she just did. Most campaigns are built to start on day 0, which means whenever that contact got added to that campaign, that's day 0. But what if you wanted to start a campaign on a specific date, like for a holiday series? You wanted to start them on January 1st, and you want to, you got it. So that would be a date-based campaign, and so that will start really based on the calendar date. So if you created a date-based campaign with all the holidays from January to December, and you just added a lead to your database and you added them to that date-based smart campaign, you don't have to worry about it starting over on day 0. It's going to pick up right in the middle of that campaign where the next date's ready to trigger.
Can you start like 3 years ago on March 1st, for example?
No, you can't go retro. It's going to start like right in the middle.
We used to be able to do that in our old system.
Why would you go backwards though? I don't understand.
Well, we had a 10-year campaign to always send a reminder.
Oh yeah, you do that. It's called running it annually. That's how you would set it up. You would,
We just got purchased kvCORE and we closed on a transaction 3 years ago. And we just imported all of our contacts into kvCORE. We want to start up that campaign, but only.
but you want them to start up mid campaign.
Yeah.
That would be a date-based campaign that would probably have to be customized for you, and then you'd start them up on that. But Heather could do it for you if you wanted her to do that. But just know that that's the difference between a date-based and a regular campaign, is that the date-based will pick up in the middle of the campaign. Yeah, you might want to see if Heather can help you with that one.